7-6, the Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. So make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. You know, before I get into a bevy of things, the NBA, Robert Kraft, Antonio Brown, LeBron James, the protest at Ole Miss by its basketball players, before I get into any of that, let me congratulate the New York Yankees. This dude, Aaron Hicks, that the Yankees just inked to a 7-year, $70 million extension, second largest contract doled out for the offseason, by the way. Second, obviously, to Machado. The bottom line is this. Hicks can play. Had about 27 home runs last year. Okay? And when you look at what he's bringing to the table, this is a deal. This is a deal, and Brian Cashman deserves a lot of credit because everybody talks about Manny Machado. Everybody talks about Bryce Harper because Bryce Harper and the Phillies are talking, but over the weekend he talked to the Los Angeles Dodgers and all of this other stuff. Let me tell y'all something. When you look at what the Yankees did with this deal, it's nice. I like Giancarlo Stanton. I like Aaron Judge. I like Gary Sanchez with Hicks and the rest of the crowd. I like this. I like the fact that the Yankees went this route. Now, this is a guy that could have waited years and ultimately signed a mega 9-figure deal for all we know, considering his upside. But he wanted some security. He wanted some security. And the Yankees said, you know what? We'll give you some security. We'll take you up a few $1 million a year. Make sure you're making at least $10 million a year, but you're going to give us some extra years. You give us some extra years. Have us lock you up. We'll secure your future. And I look at it from that perspective. I'm very, very happy that the Yankees did that. I'm very happy at the way that they're doing it. I'm not interested in the Yankees signing another $300 million player. Although that's not what they did with Giancarlo Stanton. They traded for him. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in a one-man wrecking crew smacking homers out of the ballpark. And then the postseason arrives, and it just ain't enough. Not when the Boston Red Sox are running roughshod over everybody. Not when the Boston Red Sox are balling collectively the way that they balled, particularly last season. Not when we bragged about Giancarlo Stanton, but J.D. Martinez was the one doing it up at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in deals like this. Yeah, Machado got his money. Let's see what the Padres do. Not a damn thing. They're going to do a damn thing. They missed the postseason 6 times. The last 6 years, they're going to miss it again. Bryce Harper, you get $300 million from the Dodgers. That would be nice. But guess what? The Dodgers will probably come up short in the World Series again. Not winning the World Series since 1988 again. So I'm not sold on any of that whatsoever. I like what Cashman is doing here. I like the pieces that him and Aaron Boone and Hank and Hal, the modern-day soap opera themselves, have assembled before our eyes. I like this deal because I like Aaron Hicks. CeCe Sabathia is going to play another year. Severino got his deal. Sanchez is coming back, supposedly to Aaron Boone. He's highly motivated. I like that. Because he's got some stuff to make up for after the season he had last year. I like that. So I just wanted to give props to Brian Cashman and the New York Yankees for doing this deal, getting it done. 888 say ESPN is the number to call us. 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Now let me get to a couple of other things. LeBron James has made news. And John, let me know if we have sound on LeBron James speaking to the media because he's not a very happy camper. The 3-time champion, the 4-time league MVP, the man universally recognized as the greatest player in the world, who decided to bring his talents to Southern California, is not happy with the Lakers, courtesy of a loss to the New Orleans Pelicans, who were playing without Anthony Davis and still beat the Lakers. LeBron James spoke to the media thereafter, and here's what he had to say.
Obviously, there's been a ton of games already, and it's still there enough time to find it? I don't know. We just got to play better our next game in Memphis, but we're almost 60 games in, so I don't know. When you've never been there or know what it takes to actually, shoot for something like that, and sometimes you're afraid to get uncomfortable, so you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm not saying that's what we are as a whole. Kind of looks that way at times, that, sometimes we feel like we're afraid to be uncomfortable, kind of get out of our comfort zone, kind of have that sense of urgency, from the jump, and not be afraid to actually go out and fail to succeed.
Interesting comments by LeBron James. Couple of things. Number one, you got to be there to know what you're going after. I guess that's what he's trying to say. When you look at it from the Pelicans standpoint, obviously Drew Holiday had a big game. Julius Randle, who played for the Los Angeles Lakers last year and inexplicably was allowed to depart from L.A. and end up in New Orleans by Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka, because I don't understand why that happened. You have a situation where the Pelicans, a team that was not supposed to beat the Los Angeles Lakers, have beaten the Los Angeles Lakers. And in their last 10 road games, the Lakers are now 2-8, having lost 4 straight. Right now, the Lakers do not look like they're going to make the playoffs. Now, I'm not jumping ship on them. I haven't completely jumped off the wagon. I haven't completely adopted the mindset that they're finished, that their season is pretty much over. There's still 23 games to go. They're 3 out of the 8th and final playoff spot. Me personally, I don't want the Lakers in the playoffs if they have to play Golden State in the first round. I would much rather see the Sacramento Kings play the Golden State Warriors in the first round. I think that would be a far more entertaining series than Golden State LA. I think Golden State would blow LeBron and LA out of the building, out of the state. I think they take them out in 4 games. I think Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and those boys would sweep the Lakers. They'd annihilate them. And by the way, this is Straight Talk Wireless. And this conversation right now is being brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. I think the Warriors would absolutely positively blitz the Lakers. I don't want the Clippers in there because I want the Clippers to get a lottery pick as opposed to making the playoffs, not being in the lottery, and having to forfeit their draft pick to the Boston Celtics. I would rather the Clippers miss the playoffs, get a marquee dude in free agency, and call it a day. It don't look like they cooperating. When they traded away Tobias Harris to Philadelphia, I thought the Los Angeles Clippers were saying, all right, to hell with this season. Steve Ballmer's making plans to get his own arena in 2020 by 2024. His mindset is that they need their own homes. They don't need to be sharing the Staples Center with the Los Angeles Lakers, being a fair-weather stepchild to the Lakers, which I agree with. And I thought they were of the mindset, we'll have enough money to go after 1, potentially 2 max players, a Kawhi Leonard, a Kevin Durant, etc. We've got an opportunity to go after those guys. Let's do that. And forget this season. That's what I was thinking. But Doc Rivers and his crew ain't cooperating at all. Doc Rivers and his crew trying to win games. Doc Rivers and his crew trying to get it done. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the postseason. They want to go up against the Warriors. They want to compete against these other teams. That's where they are. Me personally, I don't care to see the Clippers in the postseason this year. That's just me. I'd rather see them make a splash in free agency and make noise that way. Jerry West, Steve Ballmer, and the crew are coming. Lawrence Frank, Doc Rivers included are coming. But I would much rather see the Sacramento Kings going up against the Golden State Warriors. That would be far more entertaining to me. Because even though they lost all 4 times to the Golden State Warriors, do y'all know that the Sacramento Kings lost to the Golden State Warriors 4 times this year by a combined 12 points? Did you know that? Marvin Bagley, his length, his athleticism, his willingness to play defense, Willie Cauley-Stein, De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Bogdanovich. I mean, these brothers can play, man. Adding Harrison Barnes to the mix in a trade with Dallas. Sacramento can play. I got to give credit where credit's due. Now, I hate the fact Dave Yeager's their coach. Because I think after the stuff that happened to Memphis, he didn't deserve that opportunity. Just wait for him at the door. They could have had somebody else to give them the opportunity. But I can't knock the job that I'm seeing. I can't knock how competitive they are. Vlade Divac and the squad that he's assembled as an executive. I can't knock what I'm seeing from Sacramento. And even though they probably get swept or win one game against the Golden State Warriors, every game would be entertaining because they would fight them tooth and nail. They've got nothing to lose. They're playing with house money. If you're the Lakers, if you're LeBron James and the Lakers, the goal is to make the playoffs. Since LeBron James went down and he's missed 18 games, they were a top 4 seed, top 5 seed when he went down. Now they're like a shell of themselves. I don't like it. I'm not happy about it. I don't like the way the Lakers are looking. They're looking bad. Brandon Ingram has looked good at least 2 of the last 3 games. Had 29 last night against the Pelicans. Brandon Ingram's looking good. Kuzma's tailed off a little bit. Josh Hart, I don't know what's going on with his minutes. The consistency, it's not there. JaVale McGee was balling. Somehow, some way, Luke Walton is reducing his minutes. I don't understand it. Rondo isn't having that big of an impact. Lance Stevenson isn't having that big of an impact. Tyson Chandler isn't having that big of an impact. These are the individuals with playoff, if not championship experience. Rondo and Tyson Chandler are champions. They've won the chip and played pivotal roles in their teams, Boston and Dallas, respectively. 2008, 2011, winning a chip. And Lance Stevenson has played in a few playoff series, including a conference finals. I don't understand it. And I like Luke Walton. I like him a lot. And I hope that things get turned around and the Lakers end up excelling. My prediction of them going to the conference finals did not take into account LeBron James getting injured. I'm sorry. I didn't see that. And now that that's been the case, obviously the Lakers ain't going to no damn conference finals. They might not even make the playoffs. They might not. But you know what I don't want? I don't want the Lakers to make the playoffs and this to be all about, you know what? We made the postseason. We pulled this off. We did what we needed to do. So we made the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. And you know what? So what if we look like trash come playoff time? No, I don't want that. I want the Lakers making a run and reminding us what teams led by LeBron James are supposed to be capable of. That's what LeBron James has been teaching us over the last 9 years. And that's exactly what I want to see now. I'm just of that mindset. That's where I'm at with it. So my mentality is very, very simple about that. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to watch. I'm here to tell you right now. The Lakers, I don't understand why they have been looking the way that they have been looking. I don't understand why they've been struggling the way that they've been struggling. I mean, I do, but I don't. Defensively, they're missing assignments. They're not doing the things that they're supposed to do. They're not making open shots consistently enough. And you got people sitting there talking about, well, you know what? Is this the right approach for LeBron James to take? What other damn approach is he supposed to take? If I was LeBron James, I'd be saying the same thing. I don't want to hear about guys talk about they want to trade and block or everybody acting like they're a bunch of babies. Magic Johnson was right. They're not babies. This is pro sports. I got a producer here. It's all LeBron's fault. It's his fault. I mean, come on, Stephen A. You know, this is a roster he helped assemble. It's on him. No, it's not. How you a professional athlete get caught up in your feelings and it's somebody else's fault? How is that possible? I mean, you bunch of babies, grow the hell up. LeBron James is absolutely right. He is not wrong. He is not wrong. Oh, well, why does he have to call him out? Well, what else is he supposed to do? Sit idly by and say nothing while you wet the bed, acting like you wearing diapers? Grow the hell up and play. Lonzo Ball being out. I don't want to hear nothing about Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball's got promise. Lonzo Ball is not a scrub. I see that. I respect it. I've got no problem with it. But I don't want to hear a damn thing about Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is the number 2 overall pick who is perfectly content in dribbling the ball past half court, passing it off, and go hiding into a corner. That is a fact. I've been crying about Lonzo Ball's lack of aggression forever. How do you have a daddy like his with the mouth that man has, and you demure and passive? How is that possible? Isn't there something to be said for being a brethren, a seed of someone? I mean, that's like my daughter being quiet. How's that possible? I can't see that. It's not going to happen. So you got to get up and play. If you're the Lakers, you got to understand and embrace this reality and go from there. And that's not what they're doing, which is why I have no problem with LeBron James calling out his teammates. He didn't mention them by names, but you know who the hell he's talking about. You see what's happening on the court. And you also know that Luke Walton's days are numbered. And I'm not happy about that. I don't want Luke Walton's days to be numbered. I want Luke Walton to survive and thrive. I like Luke Walton a lot. I love his daddy, Bill Walton. Good man. And I want Luke Walton to be a guy that's coaching in L.A. for years and years to come. But the reality of the situation is when you look at the assistant staff that he has assembled, when you look at some of the errors that are taking place before our very eyes, and the fact that he's not Magic Johnson's hire, we all know what time it is. Luke Walton's about to lose his job. Luke Walton's about to lose the privilege of being the head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. There's no way around it. And for those of you out there wondering who Magic wants, let me tell you something right now. Ty Lue is somebody that LeBron James and the crew would not mind having. Doc Rivers, assuming he decides to leave the Clippers, which he has the right to do, by the way, he would be a prime candidate as well. But we all know who Magic Johnson wants, in case y'all don't know. I'll put it out there because it's never going to happen and he knows it. So it's not it's not breaking news or anything like that. He might admit it, he might not. Let me tell you who Magic would love to have as his head coach. Mike Krzyzewski. Like almost anybody else would want. Why do you think Mike Krzyzewski coached Team USA basketball for 3 consecutive Olympics? Because that's who Jerry Colangelo and those guys wanted. Why? Because almost any player he wanted would play for him. From LeBron James to Kobe Bryant and D. Wade on down. Everybody would play for Mike Krzyzewski. And because that's the reality, of course, that's somebody that Magic Johnson would want. He's not going to get him, though. Can't see Coach K leaving Duke. But I just want to put that to bed. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Before we go to break, let me revisit the story about Mr. Robert Kraft, owner for the New England Patriots. We talked about this on Friday. I was on the air, essentially of the mindset that 2 consenting adults, probably got caught doing something that they should not have been doing in a business like a massage parlor, whatever the case may be, unaware of the fact that it was a sex trafficking sting that was taking place before our very eyes. First of all, first things first, don't look at my producers, look at me. I was on television, and then after that, I had a meeting. And then after that, I hustled on the air and had notes in front of me that I didn't read. My responsibility, not my producers. That's number one. Number two, I'm very concerned for Mr. Kraft. Sex trafficking is a very, very serious thing. Now, he has not been accused of that. It's soliciting prostitution. That's the misdemeanor charge levied against him. In all likelihood, it wouldn't involve jail time, just a stiff fine. And I guess it wouldn't even be qualified as stiff since we're talking about a man worth over $6.6 billion. But in the end, what it comes down to is that when you hear the word sex trafficking, You think about young men and young women that are essentially enslaved, forced to do some things they'd never want to do. Human trafficking is a huge, huge deal in the United States of America and probably the world. Mr. Kraft himself has been charitable in donating funds to causes such as that, to fight some of the very, very things that he's now at least indirectly associated with. And there are those with the mindset that, you know what, he doesn't deserve a pass because even with the sex act itself, that according to the police, they have him on videotape engaging in. They say that people like that do such things, you're an enabler. You're a part of the problem. You're not a part of the solution. My response is, A, that would be assuming that he knew about the sex trafficking and these individuals were involved in it, and that B, he didn't care. Now, he, for the record, has stated that he has engaged in no illegal activity. He didn't deny being at the parlor. He didn't deny what the police said he was doing at the parlor. So I guess the only thing that you can infer from his statement is that he didn't know that the participants were involved unwillingly in sex trafficking. Either way you slice it, here's what it comes down to. An investigation will obviously be ongoing. The NFL will get involved. And the biggest punishment that Robert Kraft will receive in all of this is extreme embarrassment, some would say. Now, there are a couple of things to take into consideration. A, in 2014, Jim Irsay, the owner for the Indianapolis Colts, was fined $500,000 and suspended 6 games. Why? Because he had pled guilty to a DWI charge. So if he got a $500,000 fine and a 6-game suspension somewhere along the line, 6 games, 6 months, I think it was six months. But if he got that kind of suspension for a DWI charge, what is Robert Kraft going to get? Because it's about impugning the integrity of the shield. And it's about what Commissioner Roger Goodell in the NFL had said back then, that owners, management, etc., should be held to a higher standard than the players, although they came out with a statement this morning saying that the standard of the owners is equal to that of the players. I respectfully disagree. I think that an owner should be held to a higher standard than the players. So while they felt the need to modify their position from 2014 to come out today and talk about how it should be equal, I disagree with that. I think owners should be held to a higher standard. And that's applicable to Robert Kraft as well. And now you have a situation where if Jim Irsay got $500,000 fine in 6 months, what is Goodell going to do when it comes to Mr. Kraft? And let's also not forget that Jerry Richardson, former owner for the Carolina Panthers, was compelled to sell the Panthers when he was involved in a sexual misconduct scandal. Let's not forget that as well. So problems could be far and wide. We don't know what's going to happen. But we'll find out. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Like I said, you're listening live to Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage in America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. We'll continue to discuss this and some more things, and I'll take your phone calls as well. I'm in the house. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all people.
For Around the